Okay, in order to make the long sides and short sides fit together, we need to cut a rabbet cut at the ends of the long sides. So if I hold up this completed box, you can see in the corner here, those two are held together in this joint. That joint's called a rabbet joint. We made rabbet joints in the magazine holder projects, and we did that along the edge. These are going to be cut into the end. All right. One of the things I want to mention now is that the depth of the rabbet is 1/4 of an inch, and the width of the rabbet is 1/2 inch. The depth of the rabbet is equal to the depth of the groove. The groove we have already cut. I've got two sample pieces here. We'll call this the long side and we'll call this the short side. Again, we're going to cut rabbets into the ends of the long sides to accommodate the short side piece. I've drawn a line on the end of the long side piece that is equal to the bottom of the groove. We're going to use this line to set up our blade height. And to do that, I'm going to remove the miter gauge. I'm going to set this next to the blade, and I'm going to raise the blade until it's equal to the line. Here you can see the line is equal to the height of the blade. I'm going to do a test cut, and then we're going to check for the depth. For the test cut, I'm just going to have the end hang over in front of the blade just about 1/4 of an inch, so not quite the full width of our rabbet. I'm going to hold it in the miter gauge and down against the table with my left hand, putting some pressure down with my index finger, and I'm using my ring finger and middle finger to hold it against this part of the miter gauge. My thumb is hooked behind. My right hand is going to push forward. So my left hand is just going to hold it against the miter gauge. My right hand is going to push forward. Now you can see here I have cut the depth of my rabbet. It's not quite deep enough. I know that because if I put my other workpiece against it, I can still see the bottom of the groove. Right, that little gap right there, little hole. So I'm going to raise the blade up and I'm going to cut it again. I cut it a second time, and now you can see that the depth of the rabbet is just about exactly equals the depth of the groove. I'm now going to set the fence to make repetitive cuts. The width of our rabbet is the same as the width of this blade, 1/2 inch. So I'm going to move the depth stop and clamp it opposite where the blade is, and then I'm going to move the fence over until almost that workpiece, that depth stop, is touching the blade. Right. Not quite touching. I'm now going to move this back. I'm going to reclamp it. When using this stop block clamped to the fence at the table saw, I want to make sure that my workpiece is not going to be in contact with the stop block and the blade at the same time. So if I hold this in the miter gauge and I push it forward, you can see I've got a gap here, and I'm not quite ready to start cutting with the blade. That's important. All right, I don't want to have my workpiece in contact with this and the blade at the same time. Let's use this to make it. Okay, so if I take both pieces, you can see the grooves are in the same location. All right, the inside corner, we look at the outside corner, you can see that the end of the long side piece, the end of the rabbet, is proud of the face of the short side piece. We want that configuration with the end being proud of the face so that we can router off the excess on the router table using a flush cutting bit. That will ensure that all joints are perfectly flush when we're finished with that step of the process.